Hello everybody, welcome to another Various Oddities Showcase. No real setup for this one because it's a little hard to actually show off. It deals a lot more of the back end of things. But I am currently wearing the wonderful Hunter's Eye, which is a major magic item of which we presently have very few, and this allows me to petrify things that I am looking at. But as of this particular version, you're going to have to be a little bit more cautious about who you try to petrify, because over here I have some test subjects, Clive, Mark, and Philip, and we will note that if I try to petrify these guys, only Mark is affected, and the reason for this is that Mark is a goblin, and the goblins have the mob types of humanoid, and that's it. Meanwhile, kobolds have the mob types of dragon and humanoid, and dragons are immune to petrification, as well as slowness and entanglement. Additionally, creepers are now marked as type plant, which means that they are also immune to paralysis, as well as poison, which means that they're actually the only ones here that will not be affected by that. And this is all basically part of a system that we've implemented to try and make things a bit more versatile, so you can use this to enable yourselves to play RP, because if we go into our options over here, we do in fact have player groups, so we can actually tag ourselves as these things. By default, it's just me in here as a holy fae, just as an example of how you can do this. But all of these different things have different implications, and some of them even have specific benefits. For example, constructs, or golems as they are more commonly called in Minecraft, are invulnerable to a great many things, including critical hits, paralysis, poison, drowning, falling, and that does apply to you if you tag yourself as that as well, but they're also incapable of natural health regeneration, even if you don't have natural health regeneration turned off. So, double-edged sword there, but you can mix and match these as much as you like. We do have a lot of vanilla mobs as well as various oddities mobs in here. And you can see we've got a whole ton here, so all that you need to know is the actual namespace name of the entity, and you can add them into this list. This is not limited to just vanilla mobs, it is not limited to just various oddities mobs. You can put literally anything in here, and it will work from any mob that you like. And for RP purposes, that's pretty sweet. But it does, of course, also affect actual mobs. So, for instance, that creeper right there is immune to critical hits, which you might not like. He's also, by virtue of being a plant, more vulnerable to fire, but you might not like playing in a world where creepers and such are immune to critical hits. So, to that end, back in the odds, we do in fact have group effects that we can turn off. So if for some reason you don't want that kind of thing running, you can do that. For that will, however, turn off everything. So alternatively, what you can do is we can just go into the groups, go down to plant, and we can just nix creepers, which will then remove all of the special properties of being a plant from the creepers. So, that is an option for you. As you can see, we have a variety of things. There's a ton of different stuff that happens with these things. Now, not everything has a particular benefit or a particular disadvantage just yet. This is very new to the system. But, for instance, cold creatures take more damage from fire. Fire creatures have no, damage from fire whatsoever. Evil creatures take damage from smite, that kind of thing. And there's a whole ton of things that are going on here. If you class something as undead, it is vulnerable to things like smite, just by the by. This includes if it's you. So consequently, you can use this for a bunch of interesting RP purposes. I know a lot of people on my Patreon server are really excited to try play with this, because it really does change up how the game actually runs. But for right now, it's very minimalist. For right now, it just means that a few things don't work on certain mobs, and a few things work quite well on mobs. But it is very much a system that is designed for you to customize how you play and how your game runs. So, for example, currently kobolds are considered to be draconic humanoids. Perhaps you'd like that to be true of players. You can do that as well. The way that this works is, inside of the mob groups, we do, in fact, under here, we do have Minecraft player. Anything that's in there is just what your player is considered to be by default. If you add any player groups, you'll completely override that, so I am not considered a humanoid, for instance, I'm considered a holy fae, and that means that you can have specific players that have specific properties. Perhaps you want your moderation team to be described as holy. Perhaps you want certain teams inside of your server to be considered evil, that kind of thing. Maybe some of them are undead. Maybe some of them are outsiders from a distant plane. Maybe some of them are aberrations because you're not really quite sure what they are, but they're playing around. They're running around doing stuff. And that is the way that goes. Now, as I say, a lot of different things happen with these. So, dragons are different to humanoids, are different to plants, are different to constructs, are different to undead, all that kind of thing. You can mix and match these. There is nothing right now preventing you from putting, for example, both cold and fire onto one entity. I could very easily add in, combination prevention like that, but it seems like it would be more interesting for people to play around with it as well. So, enjoy, have fun. Just toss things together and see what happens. Be a nice DM if you like. But, little bit of advice. We will be getting an enchantment for slaying dragons faster, obviously with kobolds at 12 health. They're not actually all that imposing, but for the Ender Dragon and such, yeah, that's kind of a decent idea. For humanoids, there's not really a big bane for them, but also they don't tend to be terribly powerful. I believe giants and such are just classified as giants, not humanoids. Although, giant zombies are classified as undead, so you can holy water them. And if you in fact tag something that is not currently undead with undead, it will also be functioned according to holy water and the holy symbols, just because that's my code and I can do that quite quickly. Plants take more damage from fire. That is currently their only real major weakness. So, get your fire aspect weapons out, everybody, if you want to be playing with that. Of course, loss of critical hits does not greatly hinder your capacity to bring down vanilla mobs, but it's something to take in mind, just as an idea, and of course it's going to greatly change how your mob farms might work. But that is all that I have for you today, so under my watchful eye, things are getting quite complicated, which I know people are going to be pointing out as ever. But, hey, this makes things a lot more interesting to play with, and I hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all next time.